Attention wrestling fans, you're in the blast zone for the only podcast where we blow kayfabe wide open and let you know what it really takes to become a professional wrestler. Presented by America's Academy of Professional Wrestling, this is the Buckle Bomb, and you're about to get blown up.
Welcome back, wrestling fans, to the Buckle Bomb, the only podcast where we blow kayfabe wide open and let you know exactly what it takes to become a professional wrestler. Presented by America's Academy of Professional Wrestling, this is the Buckle Bomb, and I am your host, Buck Bomber. And we're ducking and covering with the one and only owner of AAPW, Papa Don Ray Campos.
Thank you for having me.
And also under the table with us is John Warsaw.
Always ready to go.
Nice. Speaking of going, you ever see like a plot in a wrestling show that doesn't go anywhere?
100%. Especially in the independent scenes.
Absolutely.
Because I've got this great storyline, I've got everything set up, and I can't work next Saturday, or I can't work on the 15th, or whenever the next show is. And you got to take that left turn pretty quick then.
So this week's topic is the dropped angle. That's why we got Pops here, because I don't think anybody has to deal with that more than a promoter does. 'Cause the entire wrestling world is full of a lot of things that kind of went nowhere, and everybody's like, why did that even happen in the first place? And there's a myriad of reasons why. And that's why you always put on a flyer, card subject to change.
Absolutely, but a lot of times that you do that, you still plan to keep the card as is, and foreseeing any emergencies that might take place, you still keep everything in line. So yeah.
Right. So, I thought it'd be really funny if we tried to sum up the story of AAPW show from, let's say, the beginning of the Aldrich location.
Okay.
What do you think, Warsaw?
Let's do it.
All right, Pops. When was the first show here at this location?
Damn.
That was...
It was in December
17?
2017. No, I don't think. No, because I think... I want to say it was in January or February of 2018, because we were here a few months, and we were here getting established, getting everything set up for the location and everything. So I think that was when it really, I want to say the winter, spring of 18.
Right. And who was on the card that night?
Oh, wow. A lot of the old time, a lot of the ones that were there. I remember Severino was here with me. Mm-hmm. Manny Domingo was here with me. Who else was here with me at that time? He's no longer wrestling, but Donnie Giovanni was with me.
Was Blue Blade there?
Blue Blade was here with us. Yes, he was here at that time as well. A lot of the guys from the past that were here.
Joe was a regular back then.
Joe
DeMero?
Yeah, Joe DeMero was here with us. Prince Adam was here with us at that time. Yeah, a lot of these guys were still out there. Yeah, they were here with us at that time, yeah.
And who was champ at the time?
T-Ray was still champion from AAPW from the previous time, and when I took over the company, I left him as champion still because it was T-Ray. T-Ray's a hard-working guy. He's always been
Absolutely.
Like that. And so I wanted the guys to step up their game against T-Ray and to go against T-Ray. And then, so T-Ray came in as the current AAPW champion, which at that time was probably the longest reigning AAPW champion at that time,
right?
Which took him, I think, to like maybe 10, 11 months at the time that he was champion. So, yeah.
And then before this location, there wasn't as many AAPW shows beforehand.
No, there was not. And I want to say there were one a month or one every 2 months from the previous location, because it was a location where it was just a ring and a room.
Right.
And an office. And so there was not really place for people to sit. And that was pretty much it. So, yeah, there was nothing.
Because I remember the way it was a little before I started being here is you were doing it every Saturday. And I know since
I did do every Saturday at that time because I was trying to get the word out that AAPW was now running frequently in the city of Austin. And that's why I was doing weekly at that time, yes.
Right. So who took the belt off T-Ray?
Steve Areno. Steve Areno took the belt off T-Ray.
Nice.
Yes.
Steve-O had a great run.
Yes, he did at that time, yes. He came in as a face, and he was a face at that time, and he took it, and he held it for quite a while. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Then who took the belt off Steve-O?
At that time, you asking me these questions, but I have them written down.
Oh.
I think Donnie won it.
Yeah, Donnie
for a
Giovanni
quick bit.
took it.
Not a long one.
He didn't have a long reign, but he did take it, yes.
Donnie, I remember a lot of the great feud. Matt the wrestler and Steve-O went back and forth. I don't think Matt ever won it.
Matt never won it.
But they had a long feud.
They had a feud going on. And then Donnie came in and feuded with Steve-O as well. And that feud went on. Then Donnie took it, but then Donnie didn't hold it very long. And I forgot, I think, who took it back. I think Steve-O took it back from Donnie again. And then I think Blue Blade then took it from Steve-O after that.
And what? We're still in like 28 at that time, or 2018 at that time?
No, we were already in 2019. We didn't have many champions at that time. We were still keeping the long storylines that made them go. So we didn't change champions very frequently. I learned that from of course my teacher, not to change belts constantly.
Right. So that, but then you made the 24/7 365 title.
I did that one for entertainment purposes.
And the social media title.
The social media was our secondary belt that I brought in. We had a cruiserweight championship at the time, and so I converted the cruiserweight championship to the social media championship because we needed a secondary belt, and we didn't have one at that time.
Right. And I remember the thing was defended every week, so if somebody didn't show up.
Yes, it was. It was because it was also our social media /TV title at the time.
Right.
Remember that? So we did, and yes, they had to be defended every show. So at that time, yeah, you had to be here every time. So if you were not here or you were times that you were going to take off, then you had to drop it.
I remember Romeo Cox had it for a long time, didn't he?
He had it short run as well. Not very long run.
Okay, bit of trivia. Which wrestler won the social media title and never lost it, but not currently the champion?
Was it Warsaw?
You got it. You nailed it.
Well, Warsaw. Who was the first guy to hold the red social media title?
The red one. I'm guessing Greenback.
Yep.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
We're breaking kayfabe. I'm Greenback. I've been Greenback all along.
All right. Yeah.
You can't miss a pot, though, to put yourself over. So.
Right. Because I remember Greenback started being in the show in like October 2018. Because I look back now and I'm like, man, I've been doing this 4 years now. I never thought I'd be doing it for 4 years. But I've fallen into a nice niche here,
It's funny, and I'm going to say this because not just because you're here, but I would have said this regardless. Compared to when you first came to us and you were going through training and whatnot, I want to tell you that over the years you keep getting better in your vocal, you keep getting better in your persona as you are at Greenback, and you have now mastered the type to go out there when the curtain opens and you just step out, you instantly get the heat, and that's my respect to you and hats off to you for that you've earned that and you've learned how to do that. And I think that if you keep doing this, there's a lot more stuff you're going to learn in this business that you're going to start using that's going to catapult you even higher if you keep going the way you are.
Oh, thank you, Bobs. On that note, I don't know how far I'm going to go in wrestling, but I know doing this has helped me grow as a person and also do a lot of things that I didn't used to do. I didn't used to edit videos. Now I do that pretty often, and I do that for my personal work and stuff. So that's
Well, just to show you that AAPW opens the doors for everybody, for anyone to learn something and to use their talents to their advantage, and maybe who knows, maybe this will open the door for you to do something else down the line. I'd hate to lose you, but I'm not going to back nobody away from earning a better money or making better living or something bigger in their life. Which all means if that ever happens, I expect you to take that and go.
All right.
But
no, I've watched you let people go on to bigger and better things.
Well,
We I don't know if we can say his name, but okay. We watched Insane. Now he's doing his own thing now.
Right, doing his own thing. But I thought you were going to go in a different direction. But I'll go ahead and tell you this because I got one for you. Ready? And I'm about to blow. We're blowing kayfabe, right? That's what we said, right?
Yes, we blow kayfabe wide open.
All right. Well, I'm about to blow it open. Ready? You remember my last production people that I had before you, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not going to mention their names, but people pretty much have an idea who they were.
All right.
And they obviously thought the grass was greener on somewhere else. And with me, they had guaranteed work and guaranteed pay. Mm-hmm. And they thought by listening to other promotions and other people and other places and having people in their ear, they both left me at the same time. You remember that?
Yep.
Okay. And that's when you stepped in. Mm-hmm. Okay. I can tell you that today, those have already come back asking for their job back. And I've told them the grass isn't greener on the other side, isn't it? And so they don't have jobs with me because you don't do that. When you have somewhere of a promotion, and this is of a promotion where you're at, and someone is taking care of you and giving you and doing for you and opening doors for you and giving you opportunities, never bite the hand that feeds you because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Not to say that I was keeping them from anything. I was not. But when I'm paying you and I'm expecting you to be here, then I expect first dibs on everything that I give you, knowing that I take care of you better than somewhere else will take care of you. And I knew that for a fact. So when you do that and you walk away from me, like hell, you're going to get your job back.
I'll tell anyone out there who's listening, thinking about getting into this, in the wrestling business, and it doesn't matter if you're a worker, you're a referee, you're a promoter, you're an announcer, your production, the two things that matter most is accountability and trust. And if someone can't count on you to be where you're supposed to be when you're going to be there, or they can't trust you, you're not going to make it far in anything in pro wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is true. So circling back around,
hey, so I like this. We're kind of talking about AAPW origins kind of here.
Right.
So let's talk about the titles instead of just like what happened in what show.
Okay.
I can't tell you dates and times, but I probably have a decent memory of how belts came to be and what happened to it there. But I couldn't tell you, on this date and this year or whatever necessarily. So the social media title, we're talking about that, okay? So Pops had already told us, right? He brought it in, and I think originally we didn't even say social media, did we? It was just TV title.
It was a TV title.
Yeah, it was the TV title. I remember
Right.
that.
So the first thing Pops did was put together a tournament. Brand new belt. So obviously no one held it. So I remember the tournament, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the finals got down to Pluto Mars and Johnny Cruz.
Okay.
They were in the finals, and
oh God,
yes, and Pluto.
What a bloodbath!
Pluto went over, and in the story and in that night, Johnny Cruz had taken a bad headshot the match before.
Yes, he did, and
was already head to toe covered in blood. But it was a good tournament. I love tournament wrestling. We don't see it a lot nowadays, especially in the States.
No, you don't.
But so that I know is the origin of our social media title now.
And anytime I try to bring in a new belt, I always try to tie in a tournament. We had a tournament recently. What was that tournament? I forgot what was that tournament.
That
for.
was because
the new belt that we brought. Or no,
Zeke Rose.
Zeke Rose
relinquished. He was double champion.
Yes, he relinquished the AAPW Wrestling Championship, and we had to do a tournament. And I've done tournaments because that was what was done in the 80s. Early 90s it was done in promotions and big companies. But you have people nowadays are out there running companies and shows that are marks with money that have no concept of what the wrestling business was like back then. So I'm still keeping it alive. And it's showing because I got compliments today that, hey, your storylines are really good because if you're bringing a lot of stuff that I remember as a kid, you're bringing them back. And I'm like, well, that's because I was raised with that, and I'm doing that. So that's why I think people are really interested. But yeah, anywhere I can get a tournament in, trust me, I'm going to get a tournament in because they're a lot of fun. It also opens doors for other angles of storylines.
Right. We've had a lot of big shows in a row, haven't we? We had the Zeke Rose Invitational, and we just had the Halloween Horror Show, which that's probably our biggest show of the year. I think we usually have a big show in the summer too. But
that was our Summer Spectacular, which we did also, which was also a gimmick show. A bunch of angles on that one. That one was probably our biggest crowd to date right now so far. Yeah. We had people standing only for that one, and we still got the drag queen wrestling with drag this Saturday. So
that brings in a whole new audience every time.
Another humongous show.
Yep. And I got to figure out what we're doing with audio.
I know you'll figure it out. I trust you.
So that's the origin of our social media title. What did we? Okay, so we had the social media, the tag teams, and the heavyweight title.
Yes.
And then you brought in America's title, and it was the gigantic one.
Yes. I brought in the America's title because being America's Academy of Pro Wrestling, I thought it was only proper to have a belt named after the company name. America's Academy of Pro Wrestling. Well, why don't we have an America's? And that was something I wanted to do even back then, but the old man wouldn't let me. And I wanted to name our main title the America's Championship. He would not let me because he wanted to just be the AAPW Wrestling Championship. And I'm like, it's already in the name already. It's like, no, it's not. I wanted to be specified America's Championship to have it on there. I think it just made it bigger, for what it did. So that's when I brought that one in. Mm-hmm.
And then that one, I believe Greenback was even in that tournament.
For the America's title?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was that when I had a match with you?
I believe so. And
I learned a very important lesson that night. When you are working a show, it's not your show, it's the promoter's show. If you try to deviate and go, if I do a little differently, it might not work out for you very well.
Definitely. There's another side note there. Promoter's the boss.
Yep.
And if you have a good idea, most promoters, at least if they're, if they're worth anything, they'll listen to you, but their word's final. So unless the promoter tells you, you have free text, do whatever you like. We always ask, get approval.
Yes.
Because not only that, but you might have a great idea that the promoter likes, but the promoter kind of puts just the littlest tweak in it. Because I know I've gone to Pops 100 times with ideas, and he's tweaked it just a little, whatever it is, just, no, but add this, or, do it this way.
Or take this out.
Exactly, take that out, or say this first, or whatever it is. And a lot of times it takes that great idea and makes it even better. Mm. But back to that tournament, I believe Greenback was in it.
Yep.
I believe that was the first round was Warsaw and Greenback.
Mm-hmm.
And then that final got to Warsaw and El Rayo.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure El Rayo cheated and won, but, that's okay.
Right, cheated.
Okay, so that was our America's title.
Mm-hmm.
And then we retired the heavyweight, correct?
Yes, retired the heavyweight title.
And brought in...
Retired the social media title.
Retired the social media. And brought in...
the AAPW Wrestling Championship.
Which is what we have now.
Which is our secondary belt,
okay.
Yes.
Hold on. I mean, that's over the course of 2 years, right?
Yes.
Because the wrestling title, that's really recent.
That was recent because we still had we were still using the social media belt, remember?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the AAPW Championship was the white belt.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to get rid of those, but I had to get a new one to counteract. And I think I'm happy right where we are, the Americas and the AAPW. So I still left AAPW Wrestling Championship there, but just made it into the secondary belt.
Right. How many belts do we have right now? Like
Current?
4?
3.
3.
3 belts
And the tag
team.
In the tag team.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4.
Yeah, 4 championships, 3 singles, 1 tag.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the 24/7 title came from Warsaw being awarded his own title.
Oh, yeah,
from
the Warsaw
Wrestling
title.
Commission.
I remember that, yeah.
So, but the 24/7 title, just like Pop said, that one's for entertainment. And,
Right.
And so we have like we said, we have like the main title, secondary. And when we say secondary, not degrading it at all.
No, we're not. No, definitely.
We got our tag team and then the 24/7.
Because everybody knows that the secondary belt is always the person who holds the secondary belt is always the number one contender for the top belt. And right now, even though Zach has that and Zeke is the America's champion, if it would have been flipped over in any way, the secondary belt would be the number one contender at all times. Would be the number one contender for the America's belt.
Yeah. So growing up for me, and, as a little kid, I watched WWF. They had the heavyweight title and intercontinental title.
Right.
And just like you said, whoever was the intercontinental title, even if the storylines didn't line up or whatever, they would put out the number one contender, number 2, and the intercontinental was always the number 1 contender. Even if they weren't going to wrestle at all,
Right.
it would say that. Because sometimes it'd be face-face.
They did it in the NWA when it was the World Heavyweight title, and the United States Heavyweight Championship was the secondary belt.
So what about non-title angles? You got any favorites of those that have happened here at our show?
I've got so many that I've done. I don't remember them all, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. So I really depend on you guys to remember them. So when you just brought up things and then you said things, I'm like, I don't remember that. Maybe just my age or me.
Well,
I don't know what it is.
How many matches have you wrestled in / promoted / everything?
Thousands. I don't remember.
So that it's definitely understandable. Let's see.
I mean, I remember every single Greenback thing. Greenback showed up with Buck Buchanan. They went, we're just here messing around. It's fine. But then, Dark Star comes running in. They attack Blue Blade, help out Vega Del Rio, and then they became Trust Fund Incorporated. Dark Eagle joined up,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. It went
on
for a really long time.
Yeah, but you see, unless you would have told me that, I would not have remembered that.
Oh,
and I remember.
I'm just.
No, I got you.
Because if you watch now, it'd be hard to believe, but back then, Warsaw and Trust Fund Incorporated had a big back and forth where it was Dark Eagle, Chris Black, Dark Star. Every other show, he was wrestling one of them.
I remember. That's actually how we debuted Dark Eagle. Which was Steve-O, by the way, which was really fun working with him. You were getting 5 minutes with Greenback, and then suddenly, here's Dark Eagle, boom, and then we, beat you up.
Right, who I think won a match against Chris Black, and the reward was 5 minutes with Greenback in the ring.
A lot of times there's 5 minutes with Greenback. No, did you mean you won? You won over Dark Star.
Dark Star, okay. I can't remember who.
I remember we lost after we lost the tag team titles. Trust Fund Incorporated kind of disbanded, and then Greenback was just kind of floating for like a month. He came out and he said, after a Vega Del Rio match, he said, "Hey, Vega Del Rio, show me some more gumption." And then that never went anywhere.
No, it didn't, because he was Vega was going different directions as well. So yeah,
right. And then I remember, and it was like, "Hey, Greenback should be a heel ref," and then you were like, "Greenback should be a heel ref for Christopher Black." And then I remember I was coming back from a doctor's appointment and I saw a really nice view of the hills, and I cut a promo about that, and I was like, okay. And I've been pretty much working with Chris ever since.
And that was the famous, instead of white and black, the green and black.
The good old melon shirt, yeah.
which nobody has done in Texas. I mean, you were the one to do that, and no one has gotten. They didn't see how much it really got over here because it did. It got you a lot of heat. Nobody's really done that. So
Right. It was also nice to heel ref because you don't have to ref good.
no, you don't. You don't. It's easy.
Which I don't know if you remember, but my first week here, you talked to me during the show. You were like, "We're gonna have you referee," and I was like, "Okay." And then I went in the next week, and I was like, "I don't actually know the rules of pro wrestling. I just watch and don't really pay attention."
Well, being a heel ref, you didn't have to know the rules of pro wrestling.
Well, no. You started me off as just a regular referee.
Right. I was giving you a taste of what
okay.
was going on. That's why I wanted you to get a roundabout feeling of feel of it.
Gotcha.
But we're going back to storylines, and I'll remember of all the situations that Greenback has been put in as a manager, and what you've gone through. So name some of the things you've already done as a manager who's lost a match. You had to tar and feather was one.
Yep.
What else have you done?
Like a stipulations of losing.
The dress.
Well, no, that was a secret plan.
That was a secret plan. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. The dress. Okay.
No, if we just want to name humiliating things, I came out dressed as George W. Bush, try to sneak in and cause some havoc.
Mm-hmm.
That
and
plan
that was because Greenback was banned, correctly?
Yes.
Yes, he was suspended from. No, he was banned from the building. Right. Mm-hmm.
And then also there was Greenback had to serve hot dogs.
Yes. Which had the longest line to this day of our concession stand ever. So yeah.
So that was really fun because I messed up everybody's order. I was like, here you go. And
yeah, my food expense went up double that night.
What else? A lot of banned from ringsides.
No, there was a dress thing. I know. I put you, and then the outfit where with the statue one where you had to wear that one. Remember?
Yeah, that was the hot dog thing.
The hot dog, yes. Yeah. And I had to give you the apron, which was a Greek god naked, and
That's
people
right.
were laughing at that.
I remember that. Also.
I know, and the worst thing about that was I was trying to cover it with my hand because it was anatomically correct, but really just in every photo and every video I saw, I just have my hand next to it, like I'm like
like you're holding it.
Yes, I was like, jeez. I think the Wonder Woman hat was more embarrassing though.
I guess okay.
And you guys were like, here's your Wonder Wiener hat, and I'm like, this hat doesn't even fit my head.
It's funny. We had a recent student who's no longer with us, and remember he told us he couldn't deal with making himself look stupid or something like that. And I told him, a lot of Warsaw's game is making himself to be an idiot, right? So, and then I told him, ask Greenback about being embarrassed in the ring. What do you do? Or, because I can't remember even why he couldn't do something, but some of the best results in pro wrestling is when someone 100% ends up making themselves look
Didn't
like
we put a cake in your face too? Didn't you get a cake in your? Yeah, you had that one.
birthday.
Yes, the
Yes,
birthday one.
Yes, the T-Ray birthday soiree.
Yeah, yes, you got thrown into a cake for that one. Yes, I remember that. See, they're starting to come to me. See, they're starting to come to me.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
But circling back to what Warsaw was talking about, that student who's no longer with us, I never actually spoke to him because I knew he was a bad apple when he came in because he had a bad internet presence. But the one thing I ever said to him was when he was in the ring, learning how to run the ropes, and he was like, I feel foolish. I couldn't help it. I had to say, welcome to the business. Because like people come in here thinking you're always going to look cool. You're always going to feel cool. It's like, no, that's not the business. And if you do not allow yourself to look dumb, to look foolish, to look stupid, you're not gonna get very far in this business because, it's not always going to be coming out wearing a George Bush mask and getting smacked in the face. It's just going to be losing to somebody who nobody thought you'd be able to lose to, stuff like that. You got to be ready to look. You got to be ready to look bad. You got to be ready to look stupid. You got to be ready to.
one thing I've really never shared with you guys are all the things that I did back in the day for me to get myself over as Papa Don. And some of the ideas that I gave you were because I've done some of those stuff to myself. Throwing a fit in the ring like a little baby. I've done that many a times. Getting my face in a pie. I've done that before. I think the most embarrassing one at the time, because it was back in the day when it was different, was getting my head shaved. That's why I have a bald head now, because in 97, 98, which year was it? And I remember that it was Pasadena, Texas, at the Pasadena Convention Center. It was at the police. It was for the police department they were doing, and there were 5,000 people on hand. And I got my head shaved that night. So talk about back then, I didn't want to get my head shaved because I had hair to my shoulders, guys. I did. And I got it cut. And after that, I said, damn it, I just lost my hair. Which at that time, I took offense to it. I got paid for it, but I got offense to it. But then I was like, you know what? This makes me add to my character now, because it makes me more heel with being bald with a goatee. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's why I ran with it from there. But looking back on it, I had no issues doing that. Oh, I just cussed. Sorry.
It's fine.
I was like, no, I don't care. I would have, done it in a heartbeat. Right. To this day. When I've had the guys here who have lost their hair here, guys who have lost their hair, they're like, oh, no problem. And I'm like, damn. It meant a lot to me then, but I guess now it doesn't mean anything,
How many times has Michael Arrow been shaved now? Was it twice? It was just once?
I believe just once, yeah.
Yeah, just once.
Who got shaved? It was Austin James.
Austin James got shaved,
right.
Yes. And Arrow have the only two that have been shaved. Mass loss have only been Eagle, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
Of course, I tell the guys, anyone needs a haircut, come see me.
Right. Yeah, throwing tantrums in the ring. That's just an easy way to entertain people.
Of course.
The time I got tarred and feathered, I got a good laugh out of seeing my tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
Waving my arms around, going, "Why?
Yep.
What?" Looking like a bird.
Perfect.
Flapping your wings.
You played it off perfectly.
And then I was like, I'm gonna slip. I'm gonna slip like multiple times. And I was like, yeah, it's so good, so good. And I remember the third time I slipped, it was real and I remember because I landed on my elbow and I was like, oh, that's gonna hurt later. And then I remember I was getting out of the ring and I was whispering to JC Garcia. I was like, help me, I can't step or I'm gonna slip and fall. Which I remember Michael Arrow said something to me after I was back behind the curtain. He was like, why didn't you bring a towel? And I was like, I thought I always keep a roll of paper towels in my suitcase because you never know when you're gonna need one. But I used up the whole thing and I was like, I'm still just covered. So yeah, always bring a real towel with you.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Definitely.
Because you never know, and always have an open mind of what you're doing, because you never know what could be now today, how everything's gone viral and everything's like today. I mean, look at Luigi Primo, how he just took off with what he did. And
right.
He's been doing that for years.
Yeah. And
they finally now caught it. So you never know when that moment will come. Just be prepared for it. You can't sit there and throw a fit and say, I don't want to do this, or it doesn't fit me, or it doesn't, then you don't belong here with us.
Right. And bringing that up, it's crazy that is a way to get to the big time now, is to go viral. And it's like, oh, who knew that doing something new and entertaining was how you made it. I remember Alex Arsenal, a friend of the school, he was in a viral clip, but didn't work out for him because he wasn't the guy who came out dressed like Peter Griffin, right. Which was the focus of it. And I remember I saw it at 3 a.m. and I was like, oh man, this has so many retweets and so many likes and so many comments. Oh, I gotta send this to him. And then I saw him post 2 minutes later, can everybody stop sending me this? And I was like, oh.
Steve Areno went viral.
Yeah, with the
table at the wedding.
Oh man,
he got put to the table at the wedding. He went viral. I think he made ESPN, or something. Well, he made something. I don't know what he made. The news, big news
or whatever.
Yeah. There's so many funny stories involved in that. Steve Areno, he was at his friend's wedding, and they had a spot where he got choke slammed through a table. And there were so many like really funny comments on it. And I think one of the best ones is because Steve didn't really know the bride.
Right.
Even though the presentation was like, you can't take this bride. I want
something like that.
I think
He
one
was
of
the scorn lover.
Yes, he was.
one of the best comments was, "Wow, this is so fake, but I'm glad he and the bride are still friends." What I really love about kayfabe, I love when people like are like, "Well, that's fake, but maybe that part's not." I had a really funny conversation with one of Wolf's kids. She came up and asked me. She's like, "So are you really fired?" And I'm like, "No, I'm still here. I'm still here."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I thought of this episode, because this is going to come out way later. So we have a currently dropped angle of Greenback got fired because the plan was that I would come back as a face, but I've been recently informed that that's not going to happen, and I'm like, man, I gave one of my best performances, like looking real sad, walking out, feeling betrayed. I was like, crowd was getting behind me even a little bit, as much as they can. And I was like, man, that was so good. Can't wait. And then you're like, no. I'm like, oh, that's fine too. I really like being heel.
Well, it's a matter of time that I have to reinstate you, so I'll reinstate you.
Right.
Well, maybe.
Well, maybe.
Zach runs the show right now.
We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, if I get my power back, I'll reinstate you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, don't worry. We're like a month. This is going to be like a month at least after so we're good. We have a backlog due to restructuring and trying to get everything working right again for Buckle Bomb to return. Which is why we're recording again.
Good.
We both say good. Yes, we're good. I'm looking forward to it. So,
okay, Jacob, how are we doing on time?
We just passed 36 minutes.
All right, so I think the fuse is getting short, and it's time for my favorite segment of the show, ABP, Always Be Plug-In. Warsaw, what you got?
Check out Instagram, Warsaw Nation _Nation. Check it out. Always posting stuff. Mostly about how Warsaw's better than you. So just go check it out.
And Pops, you got anything you want to plug?
AAPW at all times.
Of course.
All the time.
Official AAPW on all social media. Usually new content every day.
And even though we're filming this in the past, be there this Saturday. We'll probably have a show.
Yeah.
Right. We definitely will. Yes.
That's what we always say. It's like, we probably have a show. Check out our social medias. There's a 50-50 chance we have a show, but just check out our social medias. You'll immediately see a flyer with everybody on it, big faces and all that.
Exactly.
And you'll see like a million videos of somebody yelling about when our next show is.
Perfect.
All right. So that is another episode of Buckle Bomb in the can.